kingdom Protista. The next group of organisms are the protozoans. So protozoans are the one which are not having cell wall around them. They lack cell wall. But in place of cell wall, some of them they have plasma membrane around them, or some of them will have special protein structure called as pellicle, like in paramecium like examples. And some they are naked also, without any such covering like structure around them. They are naked also. And apart from this one, the protozoans exhibit, some of them will exhibit holozoic type of nutrition, or some will exhibit mixotrophic type of nutrition, or heterotrophic type of nutrition we exhibited by some of the members. And these protozoans are showing locomotion. Either they may show locomotion with the help of cilia in some of them will show the movement with the help of flagella, or some will show the movement with the help of the false feet called as pseudopodia. Like there is no exact restricted character related to that one. And some of the protozoans are aquatic in their nature, and some of them are growing in the moist terrestrial habitats. And some of them are in the form of parasitic in their nature, which are causing some damage or harm to the other living organisms. So like these are some basic characteristic features which are exhibited by some of the members of the protozoans. If you see the structural organization, some of them are unicellular, like amoeba, paramecium like examples, and some of them are colonial forms, like they exist in the form of a colony, that is unicellular structures are present, and each of them will be separately existing, and they are present in the form of a colony like organization. So that is called as a colonial forms. Then if you see some of the general characteristic features related to the protozoans. So as we said that these are cellular, but at the same time some of them are acellular also, but majority of them are having the cellular structure. That's why we call them as majority of them are cellular, and they show protoplasmic grade of organization. Protoplasmic grade of organization. That is inside that cell the protoplasm is present, and that shows some sort of division of labor in which the entire cell structure will be performing all the functions which are to be required for the survival of its life processes. Likewise, they have the nucleus and also some other structures which are useful for other functions. And some may be solitary, and some may be colonial, and some of them are free living, and some of them are parasitic in their organization or the nature. Then if you see the body symmetry, some of them will exhibit a spherical symmetry, and some of them are exhibiting the radial type of symmetry also. Then in some of them symmetry is completely absent, like in amoeba. Where why symmetry is not completely absent in amoeba means amoeba does not have any specific or perfect structure, so it goes on changing its structure. That's the reason why there is no particular symmetry. So symmetry is completely absent in amoeba type of organisms. Then as we have said that if you see the nutrition part, some of them are exhibiting holozoic type of nutrition, or some of them are exhibiting holophytic type of nutrition also, and some of them are intracellular in their nature, and some exhibit mixotrophic type of nutrition. So when they are intracellular, That means they survive inside the cell and start acquiring the nutrition. That's what some of them are exhibiting the parasitic type of nutrition also. In the reproduction, the protozoans will exhibit both asexual and the sexual method of reproductions. In the asexual method of reproduction, it occurs either by binary fission or by multiple fission also. So binary fission means the individual organism will divide into nearly equal halves. So each of the half will be converted into one daughter structure. So here the binary fission may be either transverse binary fission or sometimes it may be by longitudinal binary fission. Then multiple fission, here this is a process where the organism will divide into many small fragments and each of the fragment will convert into daughter individuals. And once this process of asexual reproduction is taking place, so here the parent is not existing further when the daughter organisms have been formed. That's the way how we can say that some of the protozoans are immortal in their nature, that is they lack natural death. Natural death is not present in some of them, like in paramecium like examples, where amoeba also, where here the parent will undergo division to form into daughters. So once the daughters have been formed, there is no existence of life for the parent organism. So it is not the death but just the division. So here we can say that the reproduction and division is, or we can say, synonymous. That is synchrony will be simultaneously, the two processes will be taking place at a time, resulting into formation of two daughter organisms. Then next method of reproduction is the sexual reproduction. Here sexual reproduction, as like that of other organisms, they show syngamy process. Syngamy means the fusion of the gametes. Both the male and female gametes are produced. Both of them will fuse to form into the zygote structure. Or it occurs by conjugation process. So here the two methods of sexual reproductions are possible. One may be by the syngamy or other it may be by the conjugation process. So likewise some will exhibit somatoplasm also. So here somatoplasm, that is a vegetative part of the cell, and the germplasm, that is a reproductive part of the cell, are not differentiated. That means there is no special structure from which the reproductive organs are formed. So here that's the reason why we say that the vegetative part and the germinal part, that is the reproductive parts, are not differentiated. That is one other special feature exhibited by the protozoans. So this is about the reproductive process which occurs in the protozoans, and under protozoa there are further groups are present. So let us see the characteristic features related to those groups of organisms. In that, the first group of organisms in the protozoa are amoeboid protozoans. Amoeboid protozoans are aquatic in their nature. Either they may present in the fresh water or in the marine waters, that is in the fresh water like in marine water like in sea waters. And the amoeboid protozoans generally exhibit a movement with the help of special structures in them, that is called as pseudopodia. So if you take the structure of amoeba, the nucleus will be present along with the irregular structure. That means it does not have any special structure or restricted structure. So here the cytoplasmic protrusions can be seen. These cytoplasmic protrusions are called as a pseudopodia, and with these pseudopodia are useful for locomotion and also for capturing the prey or capturing the food materials whichever near to the body. So that is for example, if the food material is present somewhere here, the protrusions of the cytoplasm will gradually protrude and it will form a covering like structure around them and it will push this food material into the cytoplasmic content. So now after this what happens, the nucleus will be present here, along this one the food material will also be present, that is a food vacuole is formed. That means this is a prey or the food particle which is pushed into the cytoplasmic content, and around that food particle the membranous structure will be formed, that is called as a food vacuole. So this is what we call it as ingestion of the food is taking place. This is with the help of the pseudopodia. That is, pseudopodia have two functions. One is it is helping in the locomotion and also in the capturing of the prey or the food. So here the members which are belonging to amoeboid protozoans are amoeba and entamoeba. Next, flagellated protozoans. The second group are the flagellated protozoans. These flagellated protozoans are either free living or some of them will exist as parasites or which are parasitic on the host organism, and sometimes they may cause disease to the host in which on which they are taking the habitat. So this type of nature is called as parasitic nature, and these organisms, some of the organisms belonging to the flagellated protozoans like trypanosoma. So these are also unicellular in their nature, but in the structure, if you observe the structure of this trypanosoma, it has unicellular structure and inside which the nucleus is present and the cytoplasmic content. The flagella will arise from the blepharoplast. So these are the basal granule or the blepharoplast from where the flagella are arising, and this flagella which are arising from this one, which will form an undulating membrane around that flagellar structure. So this is called as a undulating membrane. So this is a nucleus. The basal granules or the blepharoplast from where the flagella will arise, and this is a protoplasmic content, and this structure is called as a flagella. So this type of organization can be seen in the one of the example of flagellated protozoans, that is trypanosoma. So this trypanosoma will cause a sleeping sickness. So this is a disease which is caused by the trypanosoma. So these are the characteristic features here. It is surrounded by a membranous structure. So this membrane structure is enclosing the protoplasm and the nucleus with blepharoplasts which are arising from the cytoplasmic content, and the flagella is piercing through that structure and forming an undulating membrane around it, and it is coming out from the other end. This type of organization can be seen in the flagellated protozoans, and here the name itself denotes that the movement or the locomotion is by flagella. That is, the locomotion is by the flagellar movement. That is, we can say whip-like a movement can be exhibited by these members because of flagella as a locomotory organ. The third one in the protozoans are ciliated protozoans. So these are also aquatic in their nature, and these are having unicellular structure which are surrounded by some membrane, or we can say that membrane is called as a pellicle. So the best example related to the ciliated protozoans is paramecium, which is called as a slipper animalcule. So this structure contains a opening like structure called as a cytostome, and the cytopharynx, along with this one, the anal pore is present somewhere here near, through which the undigested food matter will be thrown out. So apart from this one, this contains the contractile vacuolar structure. Contractile vacuole is present. This contractile vacuole is concerned with the osmoregulation process. That is, it will maintain the concentration of water inside the cell. And apart from this one, they have one special feature that the two types of nuclei are present. Those are called as macronuclei and the micronuclei. That is, dimorphic nuclei is present, in which a larger one is present and the smaller one is present. The larger one is called as macronucleus, which is concerned as a vegetative one, and it is polyploid in its nature. Whereas the smaller one is called as micronucleus, which is concerned with the reproductive process and diploid in its nature. So here around this entire structure, body or the pellicle structure, so they some hundreds or some large number of structures are present, which are called as a cilia, and these cilia are not only helping in the locomotion. So that means these are the locomotory structures. That is, they are not only concerned with locomotion, but they are helping in the intake of the food into the mouth or the cytopharynx structure. So that is the reason why they are helping in the intake of food material, because of the beating of cilia simultaneously. That means all the cilia will show synchronous or metachronous movement depending upon the nature, and they are helping in the intake of food from the surrounding aquatic atmosphere and also helping in the locomotion of the protozoans, like in paramecium example. Once the food matter enters into this cytoplasmic content, so that will be converted into the food vacuole. This food vacuole will show the cyclosis movement. That is, it will move towards the cytoplasm in the streaming part, and it will be coming out. The undigested matter will be thrown out through the anal pore by the egestion process. So this is the way how the cyclosis of food matter can be observed in the ciliated protozoans. The best example for the ciliated protozoans is a paramecium, and the paramecium will exhibit transverse binary fission, and these members also, this paramecium does not have the natural death, because once it undergo division to form into two daughter, and each of them will separate it out and form the new structures and survive as a independent individuals. So the parent is immortal in its nature because it lacks the natural death. The last one in the protozoans is the sporozoans. Sporozoans are considered to be the more notorious, and they are harmful. So they cause diseases in some of them, some of the living organisms like in human beings, and these are the one which produce some special or spore-like structures. These structures are called as sporozoites. These sporozoites are infectious structures which are causing diseases in the human beings. So the best example for the sporozoans is the malaria causing or malaria pathogen, we can call it as. So this is a Plasmodium. Plasmodium is the best example of sporozoans which will produce some infectious structures called as sporozoites. These sporozoites, once they enter into the blood of human beings, they start the life cycle and they cause malaria fever.